Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into what might be the single most intimidating part of any application, the personal statement. So, let's figure out how to write one that really shines. If you've ever stared at a blank screen thinking, how on earth do I boil my entire existence down to a page? Trust me, you are in good company. It feels like an impossible task, but we're gonna break it down step by step. First, let's flip the script a little. This isn't just another box to check. Think of your personal statement as the actual heart of your application. It's really your one shot to let the admissions committee see the person behind the grades and the stats. All right, so where do we even begin? Well, every good quest needs a purpose, right? For us, that means getting to the bottom of the why. Why does this essay even matter? Okay, let's get one thing straight. Your personal statement is not your resume turned into paragraphs. No way. It's an essay that truly shows who you are, what qualities, skills, and values you're going to bring with you. This is where you tell your story. So what separates a mess statement from a truly great one? Well, it really boils down to 4 things. It's got to show your core values, what makes you tick. It needs a little vulnerability so it feels honest. It should demonstrate insight and growth, what have you learned, and, of course, it needs to be well-crafted. That shows you care. Now that we know our mission, we have to find our unique story. This is the brainstorming part. This is where we start drawing the map for our quest. You know, the best way to find your story is to ask yourself one really fundamental question. Have you faced a major challenge that you actually want to write about? Your answer here is going to send you down one of 2 very different paths, and here are those 2 paths. If you answered yes, and you have a specific challenge in mind, you're probably going to use a narrative structure. But if you answered no, that's totally fine. You'll use what's called a montage structure, where you weave together a bunch of different moments around one single theme. Feeling a little stuck trying to find a theme for that montage? Don't even worry about it. There are some really cool brainstorming exercises out there, like the Essence Objects or 21 Details exercises. They're designed specifically to help you dig deep and find those cool connections. Okay, once you have your main ideas, the actual words you choose make a huge difference. You want to use powerful action verbs, not passive descriptions. It's not just about sounding fancy. It makes everything you've done feel way more dynamic. Here's a perfect example. Just look at this table. Instead of saying you helped on a project, you could say you coordinated it, spearheaded it, or synthesized information. See? It just instantly gives your language so much more punch. Okay, you've got your ideas, you've got your power verbs. Now it's time to actually build this thing. Let's get into crafting the narrative. Let's kick this off with a major what not to do. Please, whatever you do, avoid this opening line. Admissions officers read, "From a young age, 1,000 times a day." It's the definition of a cliché, and it'll make their eyes glaze over. So what do you do instead? Try one of these killer hooks. You can pull the reader in with a fascinating question. You can surprise them with a stat. Drop them right into a short story. Or just hit them with a bold statement they won't see coming. Any of these will work so much better. This is that classic rule of show, don't tell in action. The weak example, it just states a boring fact. The strong one shows the impact. Always, always apply the so what test to your writing. You were on the debate team, so what? The strong example answers that question. It shows what you learned and why it actually matters.
So, you've drafted your story. Fantastic, but we're not done yet. Now we enter the final and maybe most critical stage, the polish. This is where good becomes great.
First up, a quick practical question. How long should this be? Well, the general consensus points to a sweet spot somewhere between 500 and 800 words. That gives you enough space to tell a real story without losing your reader's attention. Here is your go-to editing checklist. And my personal pro tip, read your statement out loud. I'm serious, it's a total game changer for catching awkward phrasing. Also, get a second pair of eyes on it. And then, walk away, just for a bit. Coming back with fresh eyes is probably the best editing tool you have. We're in the home stretch now. To finish strong, let's do a rapid-fire round of the most common mistakes, the traps that can totally sink an otherwise solid essay. Here's a classic trap: writing about the big win in a super common activity like sports or music. Now, it's not that these topics are off limits, but you have to be really, really careful with them. And this gets right to the core of it all. The problem is never really the topic. It's the insight. You have to ask yourself this one critical question: does my essay say something that only I could say? Your unique perspective is your superpower here, not the activity itself. All right, here's a big list of don'ts. Some are about content. Don't just rehash your application, avoid cliches like "I want to help people," and please don't make crazy claims. Others are about being genuine. Don't use weird gimmicks, don't name drop, and most importantly, do not lie or exaggerate. Just keep it focused and keep it real. Here is one last little writing tip, and I love this one. Think of your sentence structure like music. You have to vary the rhythm. Mix up long, flowing sentences with short, punchy ones. It keeps the reader hooked and adds a whole new layer of style to your writing. So, as we wrap up, let's go back to the whole point of this. Your story matters. It is the one part of this whole process that is 100% yours. So the last question you need to ask yourself is this: after they've read hundreds of these things, what is the one thing you want them to remember about you?